I've been doing all of this deep somatic work on my body being violated, right? But actually, what's been coming to me, and that's like four separate occasions of actual sexual assault, right? But I realized like one of the biggest body violations for me had nothing to do with a physical person, but like I went to a Christian school in elementary school and we went to chapel every day. And I had just cultivated this deep love with God and Jesus. That was my intro into spirituality. And that was, that's probably what kept me alive, like through what I was experiencing at home was this deep, profound love that I felt and connection to God that I knew was like non-judgmental. Like it almost like if I could describe it, it felt like Eve before she bit into the apple, before she knew she was like made dirty or whatever. And I remember signing up for this Christian camp and I loved it. I loved the community. I loved being able to sing songs and feel like, oh, I'm making all these friends and I have this sense of belonging. And then there were some things that were being said that I can literally feel like it just feels like there's like a knife in my chest of like, wait, that feels incongruent to what I knew my relationship to God was, right? And it would be things like, if you're not in this community, basically, then you're a sinner. Like if you're off on your own, the messages I was getting or the ways that I was interpreting it was if you're not part of our community and you go off on your own, then you're not going to go to heaven. You're going to be a sinner. If you don't do this homework after this, when you leave and go home, you're a sinner. Just like all of this guilt and shame that I just remember so distinctly that that was like one of the very first experiences of deep guilt and shame, really internalizing that. And I'll never forget when my parents came to pick me up after that week and it was like raining. I remember having my head like against the window of the car and it's like so dreary outside. And this deepest feeling of depression that I can remember from so early on. Like I'm sure I felt all kinds of things growing up with my dad being an alcoholic and all that stuff, but it was almost like, oh my God, the only thing that I had that was like the pure essence of love and belonging, my connection to spirit and God, like even that is gone now. And even as I say that right now, like I want to cry. Like it's so deep. Um and so to me, yeah, like what you're speaking to is like this piece of decolonization or colonization that strips the true connection of ourselves with our source and puts it into context of like, here are frameworks that you need to follow that like I feel like always underlying that is like money, greed, and power.